Gone away for the weekend, staying at the girlfriend's, hence this rather flowery choice of cushion that is on the bed. Got a few minutes spare, so I wanted to talk briefly about Danny Garcia versus Paulie Malignaggi. It's a fight that my initial reaction has been slightly maligned. People are not overly interested in seeing it. People think it's another example of Garcia taking quite an easy fight. People think Paulie Malignaggi's got very, very little left. But I actually disagree. I really disagree. And I'm very, very excited to see this fight. I think this is a really, really good matchup. First things first, Paulie Malignaggi is an older guy. He's been out of the ring for quite some time. I imagine this fight will have to be made at the 147-pound welterweight limit. I don't think we're going to be able to see another Danny Garcia catchweight here. I mean, don't get me wrong, Malignaggi isn't the biggest welterweight. He's no Kell Brook in terms of size. But I think it's... Sorry, just managed to drop the camera. But I think it's going to be really, really tough for him to get any lower than 147 pounds with his time out of the ring. So if this represents Danny Garcia making his move up to 147, if this is his first fight at the new weight division, it would perhaps be foolish to expect him fighting, one of the top guys at 147 straight away. But for me, the reason the fight is interesting is actually more than the weight class. It's because, to use the classic saying, styles make fights. And I think Paulie Malignaggi is all wrong for Danny Garcia. I mean, I know Paulie looked very bad against Sean Porter, but if you write that one off, if you say that was just because Porter was too strong, too aggressive, etc., what are Paulie's last memorable fights? I mean, he performed well against Zab Judah. He performed extremely well against Adrian Broner, to the point where many think he beat Adrian Broner. And I think there's a strong argument he did beat Adrian Broner. Malignaggi was still operating at a relatively high level when he was last fighting. And I think the style that he brings to the ring and the experience that he brings to the ring could bring a lot more problems for Danny Garcia. I mean, let's be honest, we've seen Danny Garcia outboxed by Mauricio Herrera. We've seen Danny Garcia arguably outboxed by Lamont Peterson. Stepping up in weight class to a guy who is very much a boxer, could we see problems? Danny Garcia is a big puncher, but he's a big puncher at 140 against guys like Amir Khan when he was weight drained at 140. How's he going to do at 147? It wouldn't surprise. He doesn't actually have, although he's got this. We see him being the biggest punch. We see his highlight reel, and it looks like he's a big puncher. Quite a few guys have gone the distance against Danny Garcia. And he actually, doesn't have the highest knockout ratio. And I'm worried that up at 147, he won't find himself to be the biggest puncher. And Paulie Malignaggi, he's got his pros, he's got his cons. But one thing he does bring to the table is boxing education, movement, and a jab. And to me, Danny Garcia struggles whenever you show him movement and a jab. He's looked very, very good against guys like, Lucas Matisse, Amir Khan, who tried to empty the gun on him. But he's perhaps not looked quite his best when guys have tried to dance circles around him or when guys have tried to outbox him. And I think Paulie Malignaggi has a real chance of having success against Danny Garcia in the same ways that Lamont Peterson did. The difference is, I think Paulie Malignaggi is so educated on boxing. We know he's a very successful commentator these days, and he's so experienced that I don't think he will throw away rounds due to lack of activity like Lamont Peterson did. Put simply, I think Paulie Malignaggi has too much smarts to do something like that. So I think his output will be higher, his activity will be higher. I mean, look at how it was in the Adrian Broner fight. Definitely Adrian Broner landed the higher quality of work. But Paulie Malignaggi was successful because of his volume, his output, and his consistent jab. And the Malignaggi jab is a real weapon. It's not a weapon in the sense that it's going to snap your head back. It's a weapon in this case that it's a consistent and constant point scorer. So to be honest with you, although it's in my eyes, it's a 50-50 fight on the basis that there's a new weight class. Malignaggi could have got all overnight. Malignaggi's got other priorities these days. But for me, peak Malignaggi at 147 can beat Danny Garcia in a new weight class. I think he's got the style to beat him. I think he's got the education and the experience to beat him. And you know, if this fight was 2 or 3 years ago, I'd definitely be siding with Paulie. Right now, with sort of Garcia, the unbeaten fighter, with Garcia having the one who's got the big push behind him, and with, you know, Malignaggi having been out of the ring for a long time after a bad KO defeat, you know, obviously the momentum and the likely favourite is Danny Garcia. So with those factors taken into account, but I'd be inclined to go 60-40 the other way if this fight was 2 or 3 years ago. And as I say, if we are prepared to write off Sean Porter, this is a big if. But if we're just to say that Sean Porter was just too good, then Malignaggi's other form against Rona, another guy 7 weight, and against Zab Judah is actually very, very strong. So I think this one could be competitive. Yeah, Malignaggi did get steamrolled by Sean Porter, yes, but historically he's been a good guy, and I question Garcia's punch power up at 147. So I think this one goes rounds. And I think if Danny Garcia is as sloppy and easy to outbox as he was against Lamont Peterson, the Malignaggi movement, the Malignaggi jab, and the Malignaggi experience could see Paulie take a points victory. That's just my thoughts. Early stages. I don't even think the fight's been officially announced, but it looks like it's going to be very shortly. Let me know your thoughts on this matchup. How do you see it going? Thanks for watching.